Business Explainer. Today, we're diving into, honestly, one of the most wild and kind of contradictory stories in modern tech. We're looking at Anysphere, the company behind the AI code editor Cursor. On the one hand, this is a story of unprecedented, just skyrocketing growth that completely defies every single benchmark we have for software startups. But on the other hand, it's hiding a massive, almost terrifying financial paradox right beneath the surface. So we're going to break down exactly how they achieved this hypergrowth, the underlying mechanics of their business model, and the really high-stakes gamble they're taking to actually, turn a profit. Just to understand the sheer scale of what we're talking about here, look at this number. $1 billion in annual recurring revenue. And they hit that milestone in just 24 months after launch. 24. To put that into perspective, they absolutely crushed the early growth rates of Slack, Zoom, and pretty much every other major enterprise software company out there. It makes them the fastest growing B2B software company in history, period. Okay, let's dive into this ridiculously compressed time frame. Back in 2022, this whole thing was literally just an applied research project in an MIT dorm room. Fast forward to March of 2023, they launched Cursor to the public. By January 2025, they hit $100 million in ARR. And get this, they were the fastest ever to do so entirely through word of mouth with zero marketing spend. Zero. And by November 2025, a Series D funding round valued the company at an earth-shattering $29.3 billion. From a dorm room side project to a tech giant in basically 3 years. No way, right? So here's our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The fastest billion-dollar startup. 2. Agentic Coding replaces plugins. 3. The VS Code freemium engine. 4. The zero-margin profit paradox. 5. The proprietary model data flywheel. And finally, 6. Surviving tech giants by 2030. Section 1. The fastest billion-dollar startup. So, the Anysphere founding team was basically just 4 MIT students. We're talking former Math Olympiad champions and elite Neo scholars. And that background in elite algorithmic problem-solving, that directly shaped their core philosophy. They wanted to build autonomous AI that doesn't just autocomplete a line of code, but actively problem solves like a human engineer would. What's truly astonishing, though, is how they scaled that vision. Even as they crossed $1 billion in revenue, the entire company was running with only about 300 staff members by late 2025. I mean, that is a microscopic operational footprint for a company with this kind of valuation. Instead of building these massive internal teams, they just made highly strategic acquisitions, like dropping $290 million to buy the code review platform Graphite. That let them quickly cover the entire end-to-end development workflow, from code generation all the way through to review. Section 2, Agentic Coding replaces plugins. Now, before Cursor came along, the gold standard was GitHub Copilot, which acts as a sidecar plugin. It basically sits on top of your editor, which means it can only really see the single file you're currently working on to offer basic assistance. Cursor took a totally different route with what you might call a Trojan horse strategy. They actually forked Visual Studio Code, which is already the most popular editor in the world, meaning developers had a zero learning curve transition. But under the hood, they secretly rebuilt the core runtime to be completely AI first. This gives Cursor repository-wide, multi-file reasoning. It doesn't just assist you, it actually has agency. Let's see how this builds into their absolute biggest breakthrough, multi-agent parallelization. Imagine a developer needs to build a new feature. Instead of doing it one tedious step at a time, they just describe the feature and bam. Cursor spins up multiple AI agents working at the exact same time. Agent 1 sets up the database schema. Agent 2 is simultaneously creating the API endpoints. Agent 3 is building the front-end components, while Agent 4 is busy writing comprehensive tests to make sure the whole shebang actually works. A developer can literally tell Cursor to fix a complex bug across 15 different files, go grab a coffee, and come back to a completed, tested pull request. It's a real game changer because it fundamentally solves real-world developer productivity bottlenecks. Section 3. The VS Code freemium engine. Cursor's pricing funnel is honestly remarkably effective. They pull you in with a free tier that gives you unlimited basic autocomplete, which acts as a massive hook. Then you've got the pro tier at $20 a month, which introduces a credit pool for the more advanced models. But here's the genius part. They achieve a staggering 36% freemium conversion rate. The industry average is usually just 2 to 5%. This incredible conversion rate drives their heavy power users straight into the Ultra plan at $200 a month, which gives those users unlimited compute performance. Now, to fully grasp Cursor's specific dominance, we kind of have to contrast it with the no-code side of the market. Take a platform like Tascade Genesis. Genesis is a no-code solution that uses multi-agent workspaces to output a fully running, live application deployed directly to the web. Cursor is a completely different beast. Cursor outputs a code repository. It is intensely developer-focused. You still have to manually wire it up, host it, and deploy it yourself. So if you're an engineer, Cursor isn't trying to replace you with no-code tools. It's trying to give you literal superpowers within your traditional workflows. Section 4, the zero margin profit paradox. All right, here's where things get genuinely terrifying from a business perspective. Cursor generates $1 billion in revenue, right? Huge. But they instantly hand about $1 billion right over to Anthropic and OpenAI for the API costs to power those models. They literally have zero gross margin. Once you factor in their 300 employees and all the infrastructure, the company is actually running at an estimated $150 million annual loss. Basically, every single time a power user runs a massive multi-file refactor, it sets off a cash register in reverse. And this API cost burden totally forced their hand in June of 2025. They had to suddenly pivot from truly unlimited usage to a really strict credit system just to stop the financial bleeding. Developers were hit with surprise bills and these unpredictable limits. It sparked a severe crisis of trust. Actually, it got so bad that CEO Michael Truhl had to publicly apologize in July 2025, flat out admitting their communication was not clear enough. But despite the massive backlash, they had to keep the credit system. Financially, they just didn't have any other choice. Section 5, the proprietary model data flywheel. So how do you stop paying all your money to OpenAI and Anthropic? Well, Cursor launched their own proprietary model called Composer. And here's how the data flywheel effect works for them. Cursor users are out there generating over 1 billion lines of code every single day. Cursor takes this massive data set and uses it to train Composer specifically for multi-file coding tasks. Because of this, Composer runs 4 times faster than external models, which makes developers love it, which attracts even more users, which creates even more training data. If this proprietary model master plan works out, they project they can drop their operating expenses from 100% of revenue down to a much, much healthier 30 to 40%. Section 6, surviving tech giants by 2030. And this just brilliantly illustrates the intense pressure Cursor is under right now. They aren't just fighting scrappy startups. They're up against well-funded giants who actually own the foundational AI models. You've got GitHub Copilot, backed by Microsoft's endless distribution network, already sitting pretty at 1.3 million paid users. You've got Claude Code from Anthropic, which is the exact same company Cursor relies on for models, and they've already hit a $500 million run rate. Oh, and you have Windsurf, a direct competitor that OpenAI acquired for roughly $3 billion. The giants are rapidly closing in, for sure. Which leaves us with the ultimate question, doesn't it? Can Anysphere's proprietary data flywheel solve their zero-margin problem fast enough to reach an IPO by 2027? Or, under the crushing weight of API costs and Microsoft's massive distribution power, will they just inevitably get acquired and swallowed up by a tech giant by 2030? I mean, Cursor has absolutely proven that AI-native editors are the future of software development. But whether an independent startup can actually survive the brutal economics of that future, well, that's something we're all going to be watching very closely. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and remember to always keep questioning how the tools you use every day are really built.